Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Band Together Leadership. My name is Paul Everts, I'm your host. You can reach me at my email address, and I wish you would. It's BAND, the number 2, together, bandtogether, Comcast.net. Also, go to our handsome website, which is conductingmylife.com, where you'll see that I'm an author, speaker, trainer, coach. I do great seminars, private lessons. I can work with secular groups, I can work with sacred groups. We use the material by Maxwell, including this really good book. Love this book. Diana and I are parents of a 30-year-old son and a 28-year-old daughter, and we are now the grandparents of 3. I use this book a lot, and I love you to use it. We are on chapter 7, and I'm going to go for 10 minutes because Brother John says, Paul, shorter is better. So we're on chapter 7, and just to remind you, the previous chapters are all in the playlist, so get to the previous chapter. Here's the chapter 7. Get to it right here. Do everything possible to influence the influencers in your child's life. The potential breakthrough for the parent, continued positive influence. The potential breakthrough for the child, continued positive direction. So we're on page 136 of the book. It's Influencing the Influencers. Let's listen to it. When Dr. Maxwell teaches leadership at conferences around the country, he always explains that leadership is influence. Most people misunderstand leadership. They think it's based on position, but positional leadership is the weakest and most basic form. Real leadership, the kind of leadership that transcends position and functions in any type of organization or situation, is a reflection of the leader's ability to influence others. If you can no longer be the dominant influencer in their lives, meaning your children's, you can learn to do what effective leaders do, influence their influencers. So places of influence. Looking at some of the key places where your children spend time may help you get a handle on some of the influences in their lives. Here are Dr. Maxwell's top 5. Home. At least until their teen years, children spend the most time at home. So it is important to use the home to influence the influencers in their lives. As Dr. Maxwell mentioned, his parents always tried to make their home attractive to the sons and their friends. That way, the parents could keep an eye on their sons and help us or their sons understand those other kids. For example, Dr. Maxwell's mom always talked to the boys about the kids they had coming over to visit. Dr. Maxwell remembers one time when he was in 3rd grade, he was out playing baseball in the backyard with his brother Larry and a couple of friends. When one of his friends, call him Bill, had a ground ball bounce up and hit him in the chin, he said a bad word. Later that evening, after the other boys had gone home, and Larry, again Dr. Maxwell's brother, and Dr. Maxwell were cleaning up, getting ready for dinner, Mom talked to them about Bill. That's what you should do. You need to ask them about their friends, talk to them about their friends, see what's going on. Have their friends come over to the home. How about school? Your children spend the next largest amount of time at school. Since Dr. Maxwell talked about that relationship breakthrough number 5, which again we have recorded for you, he doesn't need to say much more here, but your children's teachers are strong influences in their lives. Dr. Maxwell's wife Margaret and he have sent Elizabeth and Joel to private Christian schools. He doesn't think the education they received there is necessarily better than they would have gotten in a public school. Margaret and Dr. Maxwell believe the greatest asset of a Christian school is that the people in authority share fundamental values. But if your children are in a public school, it is possible to achieve similar results. Get to know the teachers. Request those whose values are similar to yours and develop a relationship of cooperation with them. So we have home, school, the 6-letter word church. Also, Dr. Maxwell suggested before, choose a church based not primarily on your own needs, but more on the needs of your children. And think ahead to the future. If you have a child who is only in 4th grade, Check the youth program at the church. Once your child has developed relationships at the church, you won't want to change churches when she turns 13 in order to find a good junior high program. Places where they want to go. Your children will undoubtedly find other places they want to go, just as Larry, again, Dr. Maxwell's brother, and he did with the local canteen. If you remember, if you haven't heard, go to the back to the start of this. A local canteen is something that their mom and dad made for them. And then their boys, their friends would come over. Check out the places before you, or with the local canteen, meaning that they made a local canteen. I'm sorry. They went to the local canteen and went, they got a pool table? We'll put a pool table in our garage. What about a pinball machine? Put that in the garage too. They made their own canteen. So check out the places before you make decisions. Dr. Maxwell remembers when he was in junior high, he decided he wanted to learn to bowl. His parents always encouraged him to try new things, so they were supportive, but they didn't give him permission right away. So Dad went and found bowling alleys, and he took his son. All right, and then places where you want them to go. Finally, you will want to introduce your children to some places of influence that they wouldn't seek on their own. Your children don't know what they're doing. They need you. Duh. Church activities, Christian concerts, Christian camp. Now that's Dr. Maxwell. Don't turn this off and start freaking out because we said the word Christ or Christian. Places where you want them to go. In Dr. Maxwell's world, it would be those places I just mentioned. You have your world. Make sure you introduce that to your children. Is it the world you want them to be in, though? Okay, just remember that. People of influence. You can see that people are influential in your children's lives. That's why it's important to do 3 things in respect to the relationships our children have. Know the background of the influencers. You can't take for granted that all the people your children meet and want to spend time with come from healthy backgrounds. Drug use and alcohol consumption continue to be on the rise. And again, this book's 1996. So as do abuse and domestic violence. And children are the ones who suffer most as a result. You can find out a lot about the children your kids spend time with by talking to them and to your kids about them. You don't want to become an FBI agent, but you do want to know the kinds of influences you're dealing with. So people of influence. Know the background of the influencers. Know their level of influence. Give special attention to critical relationships. While your children are in their formative years, many people will influence them. Most children spend a lot of time with the person they consider to be their best friend. So you, the parent, will want to be sure the character and family background of that best friend are strong. But by far, the greatest influences in children's lives are the people they date. Any dating relationship is a potential marriage relationship, and a marriage partner does more to make or break a person than any other relationship this side of heaven. Okay? Let's see. I'm going to see how much we have to go. All right. I'm going to stop there because it's 8 minutes or so. So we're going to continue with next week, the picture of a good mate. All right. Thanks a lot for joining me. Told you we're going to keep it down to 10 minutes. If you have any comments, BAND and the number 2 together, band together at Comcast.net. I make these non-comment because I have young people that look at them, and some of the comments I get are just frankly vile and disgusting. And I don't want my scholar students to see adults behaving that way. So go ahead, send me the comments. I can take them. And if I have any scholars, students, thanks a lot for watching. Make sure mom and dad see this. Mom and dad, share this with your children. They should know what you're doing. You're trying to be a breakthrough parent. Okay, God bless. Love you. Thanks for watching. Have a good week. Good day.